Chapter 6. Pieces of the Puzzle. Harry couldn't stop replaying the night in his head. The kiss, the way Louis had pulled away, his panicked expression, and the cryptic message, "I'm sorry." Nothing made sense, and it was driving him crazy. Since Louis left, they hadn't spoken much. The casual text messages exchanged between them felt off, like they were skimming the surface of something deeper. Something Louis wasn't ready to share yet. Harry found himself wandering the streets one afternoon, not really sure where he was headed. His feet carried him down to the riverbank, the place where they'd had one of their first random encounters. The memory of that day flooded back, Louis standing by the water, his eyes reflecting the sunlight like a secret he was guarding so carefully. He sat down on a rock, staring at the slow-moving water. There had to be more to Louis's story. Something didn't quite add up. Harry pulled out his phone, contemplating texting Louis, but he froze as his screen lit up with a notification. It was a message from his friend, Niall, with a link attached. "Hey, ever seen this guy? Looks kinda familiar." Curious, Harry clicked on the link. It led to an article, something about celebrity gossip, which Harry normally didn't care about. But as soon as the page loaded, his heart nearly stopped. The photo staring back at him was unmistakably Louis. His mind reeled. The headline read, asterisk, "Famed singer takes a break from spotlight, where has he been hiding?" Asterisk. Harry's stomach dropped. Louis was famous. He blinked at the screen, trying to process it. Louis had never mentioned anything about being in the public eye, let alone being a singer. How could this be? His heart raced as he scrolled through the article, reading bits and pieces of Louis's life. Apparently, Louis had been part of a wildly popular band before deciding to step out of the spotlight, citing exhaustion and the need for a break. There were rumors of where he'd gone, but no one had been able to track him down. Until now, Harry's mind raced back to the moments he had spent with Louis, the way he'd been so careful, the way he had spoken about wanting a simpler life, the avoidance when it came to discussing his past. It all made sense now. Louis had been hiding this part of himself, trying to live a normal life in a small town. But why hadn't he told Harry? Did he think Harry wouldn't accept him? His phone buzzed again, another message from Niall, asterisk, "Weird, right? Looks a lot like that Louis guy you've been hanging with." Asterisk. Harry didn't respond. He needed to think. That evening, Harry sat on his bed, staring at the ceiling. The weight of the new information gnawed at him. He felt torn. Should he confront Louis? Was this why Louis had been so distant, why he had hesitated after their kiss? His thoughts were interrupted by the sound of a knock at his door. Startled, Harry jumped up, his heart pounding as he walked over to open it. It was Louis. "Hey," Louis said softly, his voice almost uncertain. His hands were shoved into his jacket pockets, and he looked a little nervous. Harry stepped aside, letting him in. The tension was thick between them, but neither of them spoke for a moment. Louis wandered to the window, glancing outside before turning back to Harry. "I've been thinking a lot about us," Louis began, his voice a little shaky. "And I owe you an explanation." Harry swallowed hard, his throat suddenly dry. "About what?" Louis bit his lip, his eyes falling to the floor. "There's a lot I haven't told you. I didn't mean to keep things from you, but I didn't know how to explain without complicating everything." Harry felt his heart race. Was Louis about to admit it? Louis took a deep breath. "Before I moved here, my life was different. I wasn't just some guy looking for a fresh start. I was someone who," he stopped himself, his eyes flicking to Harry, almost pleading. "I had a life that I needed to get away from. A life that was constantly under a microscope." Harry's hands trembled. He couldn't hold it in any longer. "I know," he blurted out. "Louis, I know who you are." Louis froze, his face paling. "What?" "I saw the article. I know you're famous," Harry said, his voice barely above a whisper. The room fell into a heavy silence. Louis didn't move, his expression unreadable. Harry couldn't tell if he was angry, scared, or relieved. After what felt like an eternity, Louis finally spoke, his voice low. "I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know how. I didn't want you to see me the way everyone else does." Harry stepped closer, his voice softening. I don't care about any of that, Louis. I just care about you. Louis looked up, his eyes full of uncertainty. But how can you say that? I've lied to you. I've been hiding this huge part of myself. Harry shook his head. You didn't lie. You were protecting yourself. And I get that. But you don't have to hide from me. I don't care if you're famous or not. I just want to be with you. Louis's shoulders seemed to relax a little, but the tension was still there. He took a step toward Harry, his eyes searching his face. You mean that? Harry nodded. Yeah, I mean that. For a moment, Louis just stared at him, his eyes filled with a mix of emotions, relief, fear, and something else. And then, without another word, he closed the distance between them, pulling Harry into a tight embrace. Harry held him close, feeling Louis's heartbeat against his chest, steady but fast. I didn't want to lose you, Louis whispered into his shoulder. You won't, Harry whispered back, holding him tighter.